Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 135th episode. It's always a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen stream 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV platform. And you can always find us on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. Today, we have a great show lined up for you. A big shout out, of course, to our newest sponsors, Once Upon a Coconut and CO2 Lift. In our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring entrepreneur Fiona Frills. She's the CEO of clean beauty brand Frillince. Fiona is a 20-year-old beauty, makeup, fashion, and lifestyle influencer. Today, she's here to chat about what clean beauty really means, what age your kids should start using skincare products, and she'll even share her CEO skills that led her to become one of the youngest founders in the industry. In our Healthy Minutes segment, we're featuring my dear friend, Phil Cowley, an influencer and a pharmacist that trends extremely well on social media. He goes by the handle Phil's My Pharmacist with over 1.9 million followers. He has over 20 years of experience, owns and runs Cache Valley Pharmacy in Logan, Utah. Today, he's going to join me to chat carbon dioxide therapy for the skin, specifically CO2 Lift. It's a new, non-invasive, natural, and extremely effective method to rejuvenate, hydrate, and heal the skin. In fact, carboxy therapy is great for the face, the body, the vulva, and even the penis. In our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, double header today, we're featuring Dr. Alfredo Hoyos, an expert in plastic and reconstructive surgery from Bogota, Colombia. He's an innovative surgeon, sculptor, and artist, creator of high-definition liposculpture. He's the author of 2 scientific books, Total Definer, Atlas of Advanced Body Contouring and High-Definition Body Sculpting, and Art. Now, he's going to join me today to talk about liposuction safety, tips and techniques, and the risks and rewards involved. Stay tuned for our Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. We're going to be chatting with the incredible Fiona Frills, CEO of beauty brand Frilliance. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, 0 additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors, pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, today we're featuring entrepreneur Fiona Frills. She's the CEO of clean beauty brand Frilliance. Fiona is a 20-year-old beauty, fashion, and lifestyle influencer and entrepreneur. Since launching her YouTube channel at the age of 10, she has amassed a fan base of over 1 million followers and counting. At the age of 13, she decided to turn her obsession of makeup into a beauty brand and began developing her own makeup line, hence Frilliance. She personally formulated and designed all the products in the line, which are available in over 1,000 Walmart stores and CVS stores. Online, you could find her at frilliance.com, amazon.com, Sephora UK, and of course, superdrug.com. All her products are cruelty-free, mineral oil-free, sulfate-free, formaldehyde-free, paraben-free, hypoallergenic, and dermatologist tested. Today, we're chatting about what clean beauty really means, what age your kids should start using skincare products, and she'll share what skills led her to become one of the youngest CEOs in the industry. According to a report by the NPD Group, Some 68% of consumers say that they're looking for skincare brands that highlight clean ingredients. Now, the concept of so called clean beauty, makeup, and skincare products marketed as free of harmful artificial ingredients is the latest catchphrase in a world of products sold as sustainable, environmentally conscious, or simply safer. But what does it all mean? Here to break it all down for us in the clean and honest way is Fiona Frills. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
I'm so excited to be here and get to chatting about all things clean beauty.
So tell me, clean beauty, tell me about yourself. Where are you from and how did this all begin?
So I am from Northern California. I'm from a little town called Santa Cruz. And all of this started because I was a YouTuber at the time. I was testing out so many different skincare and beauty products, and I started breaking out so bad. And I was on a mission to figure out why. And I was researching the ingredients and all the products I was using. And I was absolutely floored by the amount of harmful ingredients in the products. And I was like, how are they marketing these? Being like, "Oh yeah, they're fine for sensitive skin." I'm like, "No, they're clearly not." So I decided I wanted to create a brand dedicated to teenagers and their sensitive skin. So this whole brand is really dedicated to helping teens with their confidence and overall just building a community around them.
Your story is fantastic because you found an opportunity to cater to a market that was consistently running into problems, and that's the teenage beauty skincare world is laced with products that are in fact harsh, harmful, and counterproductive to the skin. So the fact that the inspiration behind your beauty brand Frilliance came from your own personal experiences with these products is so telling because that's really the beginning of something great. And it all started with you. What advice do you have for aspiring teen entrepreneurs who want to follow in your footsteps?
I would say, we're all also like always thinking, what time should I start? Like, when should I start this business? Or when should I start being a social media creator? It's always like, when? I say slowly start, like, start now because there is no perfect time. And I feel like so many people get focused on that. And I have in the past many times. It's so important to just start and take little steps at a time. But eventually, those little steps will pay off and you will be much further down the line than you could have expected if you were to just like wait and put it off and be like, no, it's not the perfect time right now. So I think it's important to start now, even if it's small.
The time is always now, without a doubt. Let's go back to the concept of Frilliance. So, consumers should also know that natural doesn't automatically mean better or safer, and ingredients such as essential oils can even trigger allergic reactions, especially for those with sensitive skin. Now, your brand's mission is to honor teens by doing what's best for their health, their skin, their budget, and the world around them with products that are truly powerful, natural, sustainable, and simple. Now, I love the concept clean, simple, effective, and sustainable. What inspired the name and what is your roadmap?
So the name is based off of my last name, so Fiona Frills. And I loved the word, and I still love the word brilliance. So I was like, what if I do a little play on words here and do brilliance? So it just stuck. And I still love the name. I think it's very fitting for the brand. And our overall roadmap is to just guide and help teens because when you're a teenager, overall, there's so many choices that you have to make. And there's so much going on with friends, with school, with your parents, with growing up. The last thing I want them to be worried about is their skin and their confidence and just be like nervous about picking products because it's sometimes so hard when you look at the shelf because most of the brands are all targeted towards 25 and up. So I really wanted to create an easy, safe, accessible space for them. So, yeah, our roadmap is like all sorts of different social media campaigns and really educating teens and giving them a community that will help them and that's affordable. And we're there for them through everything. We have great customer service and we always want to put our customer first.
I love everything you're saying. Now, Frilliance was named in a roundup on best brands for acne prone skin, emerging clean beauty brands you need to know about. And you were featured in Birdie, Bustle, InStyle, Vogue Italia. As an influencer and YouTuber, you know about marketing brands. What is your buyer beware statement to people looking for natural and organic ingredients when choosing a skincare?
When you're looking at like on the shelves or online, sometimes packaging is so deceiving. It is like the epitome of a catfish where they'll like have like the word natural on it, or it will be like green with like leaves and try to like convince you that it's natural. But when you turn over the box or you look under the ingredients list, you will find some toxic ingredients and ingredients that just are not good for sensitive skin or people who are just trying to wear more clean skincare and makeup. So my number one thing is please turn over the box or open the ingredient list and read through it because you can like if you like look at a word and you're like, that looks kind of weird. Like, what is that? You can look it up and see if it's comedogenic, if it will break you out. There's also several different websites that will rate your products. EWG is one of them. So you can look up your like daily moisturizer and find out like what is in it and if it's benefiting your skin or making it worse.
That's some great information. Now, what is the biggest misconception about clean beauty, and what issue do you have with the current products on the market?
Okay, so for me, when I look at clean beauty overall, it's usually very expensive and it's not accessible. And I think that is very unfortunate because a lot of people cannot go out and buy an $80 moisturizer or a $60 cream blush. So I think it's really important for brands to keep that in mind and create more companies that are a little more affordable and still, like, clean and the ingredients are high quality. For us, like, our ingredients are always top tier ingredients. Our products are produced at a lab that mainly produces high-end products, like luxury Sephora brand products. So I think it's really important for brands to price their products according to, the situation. And my the misconceptions of clean beauty, I would say when they think of clean beauty, they think of just, like, natural on your skin, like, it doesn't cover anything, like, it's a little more on the sheer side, which is true for some brands, but there are brands out there who are having, like, great clean formulas that still have, like, high coverage and, like, you could do a full beat of makeup. So there are brands out there that are following that. It's not all just sheer.
Now, Frilliance has promises, and when you look at the packaging, you are making a very clear statement about the brand that you want to see grow alongside your consumers. What results does Frilliance promise?
We always promise transparency. I think that is so, so important. And no matter what, every single product that we have in our line is produced and made with love. And I truly care so much about people's skin. I am the face of the brand. Like, I am here. Like, you could go hate on my Instagram. You could go do whatever you want if you don't like the products. So, therefore, like, I want to help you. I want to help your skin. So therefore, all of our products are going to help you and they're going to give you just this gorgeous glow and they're going to make you feel good and they're going to benefit you in the long run because of our ingredients. So we're always transparent. We're always using high quality ingredients and we care so much about you and want to hear about your feedback and your ideas. So yeah, we
So
care always.
let's talk about the main ingredients or a common ingredient found alongside your product. So what is the common ingredient or main ingredient in your products, and where is specifically Frilliance manufactured?
So, Frilliance is manufactured in Hayward, California. I don't wanna give out the lab's name, but it is in Hayward, California. They're incredible. They've been in business for over 30 years. They've done so many different projects. It's incredible. And the main ingredients that we always use acne fighting ingredients in all of our products, just depending on the formula and its compatibility with another ingredient, it varies. So we use niacinamide a lot, which is a great acne fighter, but it's not super intense like salicylic acid. It's like a lighter version of that. Then we use white willow bark, which is super antifungal, antibacterial. We also use jojoba esters, which is very hydrating and will really give you that like youthful glow and it's beautiful. It sits on the skin perfectly. And there's many others, but those are like the 3 that we use for like in most of our products.
Well, I am convinced. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and she is, believe it or not, starting to get minor breakouts along her T zone. And she said, Mom, I need skincare. So I think the next logical step for me is to buy Alexa her own cleansing products directly from Frilliance. Thank you so much for making me feel comfortable as a mom to put this on even my daughter's face.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's so important to also include moms and dads on this. It's easier for you to feel comfortable buying these products for your kids because the people behind the brand really understand your child's skin needs. So we're here for you and we're here for the moms and dads always.
Oh, Fiona, you're amazing. Thank you so much. We have about a minute left. If can you share with the audience what advice, I know you're 20 years old, but what advice would you give to your younger self?
You know, oh gosh, that is a hard one. I feel like there's so many cheesy lines, but I truly think I live by the saying, if not now, when? And there's previous times in my life where I put things off or I've been like, "No, I don't wanna do that right now," and I wish I didn't do that. Like, I wish I just disciplined myself to do it then because therefore it would make my life easier now. So, I think it's really important to have discipline. Even though it's so hard, it pays off so much, and very, very few people, I feel like, truly have discipline. So be disciplined and also love yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. When you look in the mirror, tell yourself you're beautiful because you are. I think there's a lot on social media and there's a lot that people see, so it's important to love yourself.
Oh, Fiona, you're amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. What a great interview.
Yes, thank you. This was wonderful. I love chatting.
You definitely have to check out Fiona on the gram at Fiona Frills, or you could head directly to Frillince.com. That was our Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Healthy Minutes segment, we're featuring my dear friend and returning contributor, Phil Cowley, a dear friend of our show. He's an influencer and a pharmacist. He goes by the handle Phil's My Pharmacist all over social media with over 1.9 million followers. He has over 20 years of experience, owns and runs Cache Valley Pharmacy in Logan, Utah. He's extremely passionate about educating people on how to make informed decisions about their health and well-being. He's better known for his ability to make even the most complex medical information accessible and entertaining. His videos on social media cover a wide range of topics, from OTC hacks to common health concerns and healthy living. He joins me today to chat carbon dioxide therapy for the skin, specifically CO2 Lift. It's a new non-invasive, natural, and extremely effective method to rejuvenate, hydrate, and heal the skin. In fact, CO2 Lift Carboxy is great for your face, your body, vulva, and even penis. This is the very first clinically proven gel delivery system for carboxy therapy. We're going to chat some more with our expert at hand. Welcoming now to the show is the awesome Phil Cowley. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey, thank you. I'm so glad to be in New York. I love New York area. So you guys are the best. Like, honestly, I love it when the New York followers say things. They're just, I don't know. I love it. Anyway, thank you for having me, Zen. This is awesome.
You got it. We do make everything so much fancier here in New York City.
Yeah.
Now, can you briefly explain what CO2 therapy for the skin is? Because you're really good at breaking this stuff down, and how it differs from other skincare treatments.
So you think of CO2, normally you think of poison. You know, the oxygen was good and the CO2 was bad, and that's the way our bodies use it. But that's not the case. Our bodies love equilibrium. And so when there's too much oxygen, we end up breaking down all the tissue. Your carbon dioxide is essential in keeping open all the little microvascularities. So that means you get more blood flow. And so when the oxygen from either inside or outside gets too high, we start to age our skin really rapidly, and it breaks down our skin. And the carbon dioxide, when it comes in, it kind of brings a couple of friends with it. One of the friends it brings in is this superoxide dimutase. And this superoxide dimutase is this enzyme, which is tied to everything good about staying young. So inside of us, we have this superoxide dimutase, but when the oxygen levels get too high, there's not enough carbon dioxide, it goes away, and immediately wounds get worse, our collagen breaks down, the skin itself doesn't rejuvenate quite as fast. So the concept with a carbon dioxide is we put this carbon dioxide therapy, it brings carbon dioxide and you put it on the skin. Immediately, the carbon dioxide moves through the skin. And when that happens, we bring the blood into the area. And then there's this thing called the WOR effect. It's absolutely boring to listen to, but it's brilliant on what this man found. And that is that the more of the CO2 you have in the area, the more the hemoglobin releases its oxygen, which then feeds the skin, increases the number of fibroblasts that you have, increasing the amount of elastin and collagen you have, rejuvenating your skin in a natural way rather than filling it full of stuff and let it last for a little while and then have to refill it with stuff.
That's a great explanation. We can now add scientists to your many list of titles. That was a great breakdown. So what you're saying is carboxytherapy is the therapeutic use of CO2 gas to regenerate the tissue in the skin. And when the gel is mixed, CO2 gas is formed and the gel holds the gas into the skin. I'm a good student, I'm listening. And then what you're saying is that the body responds by rushing oxygen-rich blood to the area applied. And this brings nutrition, hydration, and even helps remove waste from the skin, leaving our skin brighter, more hydrated, and smoother. Did I get it right?
Absolutely. And then it leaves this enzyme behind to continue to do that process, and it protects that enzyme. So that enzyme sticks around even longer. And we lose that enzyme, that superoxide dismutase, over time. And then carbon dioxide will totally bring it back, which means not just now are you getting treatment, but it sticks around to 14 to 18 hours.
I love it. And the treatment is the fastest way really to regenerate your skin and keep it looking, feeling youthful, in my opinion, based on what the options are available right now, even over the counter. Now, you mentioned your passion for educating people about health and well-being. How do you see CO2 therapy fitting into a holistic approach for health and skincare?
So you've got Botox, PRP, fillers. There's these options to get young. And you know what? They all look good right now. But the problem is the fillers, now you're finding a lot of people getting them removed because they didn't realize not only would they stick around, but they'll migrate on you. The best thing to do to keep your skin healthy is give your skin everything it needs. So we just want to augment our skin so we look like we are 10 years younger. The CO2 is a natural way for us to do that because it's creating a homeostasis, a balance, a good place for our skin to live with. And by doing it, it's increasing blood flow to our own cells, which means that once it kicks back on the system, you're going to have constant good skin for a lot longer because you're stimulating blood flow and you're stimulating new fibrinogens to be built and new collagen to be built, but you're feeding the cells.
And that collagen that you're feeding it, this is in fact boosting collagen production because this therapy stimulates collagen production in the skin. And of course, as we know, collagen is essential for maintaining skin elasticity and a youthful appearance. So its production can help reduce the appearance of fine line and wrinkles. So I definitely, I see the correlation there. Now, how does CO2 therapy work to rejuvenate and heal? We're talking about heal the skin. Are there any scientific principles behind it that you can explain?
Yeah, so that's going to be all about, it's called SOD, it's superoxide dismutase, and it's an enzyme that our body uses to help protect us when we have too much chemical, too much UVA, anything that breaks down. Our body sends these guys in there and says we are being overrun with damage. And over time, they get tired, and we start to lose them little by little, especially when vascularity, so your blood flow decreases. When you put in carbon dioxide, the carbon dioxide re-stimulates the production of the SOD. And by doing so, it goes and fixes what you've done with environmental dangers. It helps revitalize all of the tissue by bringing in new vascularity. Diabetic wounds, the worst thing is you can't get blood flow to them because all the diabetic wounds have been completely destroyed. CO2 therapy, carboxyl therapy has been shown to bring in all that vascularity. And once we can get the blood flow there, the body starts taking care of itself again. Well, after the age of 55, you lose 30% of all of your collagen almost immediately over the first few years. And that's because we've lost the cells. We've lost all of the way to feed the cells. So the CO2 therapy helps the way to feed the cells. And it does it by bringing back in its friends oxygen in a healthy way, and then making sure that all of the UV rays and all the oxidants have all been taken care of. I think it fits perfectly because we're talking about the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide in our body, and our body knows what to do with that. We're not putting something foreign in there to do it.
When you break it down like that, it makes total sense. It's really just all about science and understanding these two components mixing and meshing together to create this non-invasive treatment. Because I am going to point out again that CO2 lift is a non-invasive and non-surgical skin rejuvenation procedure. It doesn't require any incisions or injections, making it a safer and less painful alternative to many of the other rejuvenation methods. And for sure, it's come such a long way since the 1930s, when you had to, in fact, inject CO2 into the skin. This new method is completely non-invasive. Now, as a pharmacist, do you think that there are any safety concerns or potential side effects associated with CO2 therapy for the skin that people should be aware of?
Well, there used to be, because they used to inject it. And when you used to inject it, if you injected it too far, it actually works really well on cellulite, which is one of the main things that they use it for, injection. It works really well on cellulite because it can break down the adipose tissue that's there and when the needle gets stuck. If I took it and stuck it in here, if I push too far, it's going to hit the fat bed. And by doing so, theoretically, you could break down the fat. However, by using it topically in a gel that will hold it in position long enough for it just permeate where we want it to, which is the top layer of the skin or the top layer of the tissue if we're using it vaginally, it won't do that because it's not actually being pushed in by a needle. So we've taken out the human error of saying, whoops, I went a little bit too far to break down that fat, but you're still getting all of the positive benefit there in the first few layers of the skin. So it still could help with cellulite because we're going to make the tissue of the collagen stronger, but we don't have to worry about making more dimpling. Honestly, because it's not being passed into the skin, we're using it on this topical gel. Your risk factors outside of, I guess you could be allergic to anything, but there's not much in it to be allergic to. It's a safe product. In fact, I would do this substantially before I would do PRP. PRP, I don't know anybody's done it, but it's a painful process. And then you look at some of the results that you get with multiple needle sticks and the inflammatory cascade that you get afterwards. You have to wonder, is that maybe potentially creating some sort of scarring in certain individuals?
Very true. Very true. And yeah, vampire facials, not my favorite. And they are very painful. That's what you're referring to when you say
Yeah.
PRP. Some of the audience over here in the tri-state area will know it as the vampire facial. Now, what kind of results can people expect to see after using CO2 lift? And in your opinion, as a pharmacist, knowing the science that you know, what can people expect to notice improvement wise on their skin?
So you'll see that brightening really quickly. So underneath the eyes, the dark marks, the bags under your eyes, that you'll see those disappear pretty quickly because the oxidation process with the CO2 will help take that color out really quickly. Your skin will brighten up with the first few treatments. But when you're talking about elasticity and how firm your skin is, it usually takes 4 to 6 weeks, but the results are extremely but then they stick around. And that's because it takes 4 to 6 weeks to reintroduce cells that want to produce it. We have to take those fibroblasts and then coax them back and then get them healthy. But once you do, those fibroblasts are healthy. So they're going to do it. They're going to stay there for a long time. So after the first 4 or 5 weeks, you only have to keep them alive once a month with a treatment like this, and you're going to see firmness come back that you haven't had in 4 or 5 or even 10 years because you've now helped your skin heal itself rather than putting something that's just temporary in place.
It's very interesting that this is addressing so many skin concerns because CO2 lift is being used to address concerns regarding fine lines, wrinkles, dull complexion, hyperpigmentation, and the fact that it promotes healing with the controlled application of carbon dioxide, like you said, that stimulates the skin's natural healing process. And of course, this is resulting in a fresher and more rejuvenated appearance, but it's all natural. And that's what I love about it. Now, are there any specific individuals or skin concerns outside of the basic, problematic areas that CO2 lift is particularly effective for on a medical grade level?
So alopecia is one that I really like because you get a lot of alopecia. And then I just had a patient come in yesterday and she was going through some cancer treatments and she thought she was losing her hair because cancer treatment, but really it was actually an alopecia areata. And so she had this bald spot starting here and she was complaining about it. There is some really good data on carboxyl therapy on alopecia area, and that would make complete sense because it's opening up blood flow to go back to the area that's now being just bombarded with all of the different histamine reactions because she's got this allergic reaction. By adding more blood flow to the area, hair growth is going to be something that we should expect to see really rapidly. I think people who have really rapidly onset cellulite, that's another one, because what you're seeing on rapidly onset cellulite is you're seeing a breakdown of the collagen, which means the fibroblasts that are there by the collagen aren't happy, and we can increase the amount of fibrogens that you have there. And I think it's really important for people who are having a lot of pain and discomfort vaginally. This is a very non-invasive way that you can do at home, that we can increase the amount of carbon dioxide's there, which then will help with the nitric oxide cycle that you have inside. And if we have good balance between carbon dioxide and nitric oxide inside the vaginal tissue, the tissue itself becomes more healthy. And then that allows those little skin glands that put out all of the moisture to do their job. But if everything in there is not happy and it gets shriveled and it gets tight, then those skin glands can't do anything and everything's painful.
We don't want any shriveling down there. That's a fact. Now, that one's stuck. Now we have about a minute left, and we know that all of this sounds great, but one could be wondering right now, well, is it going to cost me a fortune to go and seek this kind of treatment? So how does the cost of CO2 lift compare to other skincare treatments or procedures with similar benefits?
So most of the other benefits, you're going to have to go in a physician's office to do anything that's anywhere close to it. That's just a given. And the cheapest you can go to a physician's office for anything like this, or an esthetician's office, you're at least $150 a treatment, if not more than that. With this, the whole kit comes in at a price point that's very, very easy to hit at the $600 mark. And that'll get you through to where you're getting results. You've hit enough to where you know exactly what you're going to get. And then at the $600 mark for the 6 treatments, by then you've already saved yourself $400 or $500. And it doesn't have to be scheduled on the doctor's offices. You can do it at home. It saves you time and convenience. And I would say that most of the time, it's probably half the cost you'll end up really spending inside of a physician's office by the time you're finished. So I think that price-wise, they priced it lower than they probably should have. They probably could have done the exact same prices going into the physician's office, but they came up about 50% lower.
I love it. And it's interesting because this breaks down to about $90 a treatment, right? So under $100, you're really getting some incredible, almost, in-office type results that you would in a physician's office. We are officially out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. You broke it down so incredibly well and transparent. And I love the science behind it and all your explanations. You are definitely cut out for the work you do.
Well, we're going to stop the shrivel. So that's what we're going to do.
That was our Healthy Minutes segment featuring the incredible Phil Cowley, influencer and pharmacist. You can definitely check him out on the gram at Phil's My Pharmacist. You can also head directly to co2lift.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxy-therapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. Today, we're featuring Dr. Alfredo Hoyos, an expert in plastic and reconstructive surgery from Bogota, Colombia. Dr. Hoyos is an innovative surgeon, sculptor, and artist, creator of high-definition liposculpture. He's the author of 2 scientific books, Total Definer, Atlas of Advanced Body and Contouring and High Definition Body Sculpting, and Art and Advanced Lipoplasty Techniques. He joins me today to talk about liposuction safety, tips and techniques, and the risks and rewards involved. Now, in recent statistics, liposuction overtook breast augmentation as most popular cosmetic surgery, amid growing concern, of course, about the implants linked to cancer. According to newly published data from the International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery, the contouring procedure, which uses suction to remove excess fat, accounted for about 15% of cosmetic surgeries performed worldwide, while the equivalent figure for breast augmentation fell to just over 13%. Changing trends are part of a global surge in aesthetic medicine, which saw over 30 million surgical and non-surgical procedures carried out in 2021, and that's a jump of close to 20% from the previous year. Staggering numbers. Welcoming now to the show to help me break it all down is the amazing Dr. Alfredo Hoyos. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation.
We are so excited to have you on. You are an expert in your field, and we can't wait to chat with you. Could you please start by sharing with our audience your journey into the world of high-definition liposculpture and advanced body contouring, and really what inspired this career path?
Well, I think high definition started almost 20 years ago. And I think it was partly because I'm an artistic, expert as well. I'm an artist, and one of the things that we lacked back then was the possibility to do through liposculpture a good artistic work. So what we combine is the artistic portion, mixing it with the external anatomy that you should have. So the result at the end is having a very natural, but at the same very athletic appearance, both in men and female.
That's a fascinating career path that you merged the two together, because one would think they're worlds apart, but after what you just said, they really run parallel to each other. Now, I'm going to assume that the best candidates for liposuction are patients who already concentrate on a healthy diet and exercise as part of their daily regimen. Of course, this procedure doesn't cure or combat all aspects of obesity or get rid of cellulite. But now, if you exercise regularly, to my understanding, you still have unwanted belly fat for most of the population. That just won't go away. Liposuction is a safe and effective procedure that uses a much smaller incision than, like you said, past methods required. But you're the author of 2 scientific books on body sculpting. Could you provide a brief overview of the key principles and techniques discussed in your books and how they have contributed to your innovative approach?
Yes. So the idea is this, only 5% of the population can have, through diet and exercise, the perfect body. So having that in mind, the idea was to provide specifically to the surgeon the tools to make it happen in terms of providing to these patients a perfect anatomy experience in terms of combining the surgical procedure with the artistic portion of it. At the end, these 2 books actually provide to the surgeon the guidelines for doing every single aspect of the muscular anatomy, the arms, the pecs, all the anatomy itself, and including, but not forgetting that most importantly, the abs for everybody.
It's funny because when you think of liposuction, you think of women, right? Now, women tend to gain fat in their stomach and their hips and thighs, but men also suffer from gaining in their midsections and chest areas. So this is both effective for both men and women, and they can both benefit from this treatment. So I love that. Now, liposuction has been around for many, many years, but your work has really advanced the field significantly. What are the primary differences between traditional liposuction and your high definition liposculpture technique?
I think high definition was a leap in terms of what we can obtain with true liposuction. Previously liposuction was dedicated only to do deep liposculpture, taking out the deep fat. That was the extra fat that we used to have, but not literally carving it into an artistic work. And most of it, what we can do with high definition was to treat both of the two layers. We have a superficial and a deep layer, but also to create the artistic portion of it. So making translucent the anatomy through the skin. So with that, what we combine is liposuction in one area, and on the other area, we combine fat grafting. We can do the fat grafting into some muscles, specifically in men, for instance, the pectoralis, the abs, the arms. In women, we can do it in the legs, for instance, in the gluteal area. So we can combine it in different regions as well. Right now, for instance, in the gluteal area, we do it only subcutaneously. But in other area, for instance, like the legs in women, we can do it even inside the muscles to provide an appearance that it looks more athletic.
It's incredible if I'm closing my eyes and I could see a body being contoured like this while somebody is, in under general anesthesia, and you working your magic to really sculpt it. It's really, when you think of it, it's like, you have a canvas and you're like a Picasso at that point. So it's fascinating. But safety, of course, we know is a significant, and I mean significant concern in any surgical procedure, specifically liposuction. How have you addressed the safety aspect of liposuction in your practice? And what advice do you have for patients seeking this procedure, especially leaving America? You're currently in Bogota, Colombia, and you're very well known. But what's your advice here?
Well, my main advice is to go to the right surgeon. Usually a board certified surgeon is literally like a stamp of good standing and good position. Usually people that are certified, usually they have to go through processes and also to have like continuously getting things up to date. So for instance, we created our own congresses in terms of safety. Actually, it's called total safety. And in that sense, the idea is to provide three things. To provide first the safety for the surgeon, safety for the patient. So in terms of liposuction, what we want to do is extract the most that we can out of the patient without compromising his health. The idea then is to provide less bleeding, less swelling, prompt recovery, sooner recovery, and a safe recovery. So those are the three aspects that we have on. The pre-op, intra-op, that is mainly keeping the safety in terms of diminishing the bleeding, and the post-op care to making the swelling and process and the fibrosis to recede very quickly.
So it's not just a black and white situation. There are many protocols that you follow to ensure maximum safety. Now, can you discuss some of the potential risks and complications associated with liposuction, and how do your techniques or your advanced techniques, if you will, mitigate these risks?
So we have mainly 3-4 risks that we have in mind. The first one is bleeding. We usually treat the patients with specific medications to provide less bleeding. Specifically, we're studying substances like tranexamic acid. The second one is thromboembolism. So preventing thromboembolism is a key for us. So with that, we actually do also some prevention mechanisms, like giving some medications to prevent this thromboembolism to appear. The third potential risk is infection. So we try to prevent infections, to provide like prophylactic antibiotics and so on. And I think the fourth one, that is one of the most difficult ones, is the necrosis of the skin. To overdo, to making these patients to have like less vascularization over the skin because it's over resected, especially in secondary patients where they have previous liposuctions, that they might have some problems over the vascularization of the skin, specifically what we call the subdermal plexus. So in that sense, we also are studying some substances in order to prevent necrosis and to prevent especially bleaching of the skin or stains on the skin if they are post-op care.
And this is why you said make sure you go to a board certified surgeon, because there's a lot of knowledge that goes into not just safety, but into obtaining the incredible results. I'm going to shift a little to CO2 lift. So both CO2 lift and hyperbaric oxygen therapy utilize oxygen in their respective processes. In CO2 lift, carbon dioxide is applied to the skin, and the skin is expected to absorb this CO2 and in the process release oxygen, potentially improving skin health. Now, in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, pure oxygen is administered at increased atmospheric pressure, and the higher pressure allows the body to absorb more oxygen into the bloodstream, which can be beneficial for various medical conditions. The common thread between the two is the focus on oxygenation of tissues, albeit through different methods. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. So comparing CO2 lift to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber suggests that there may be some similarities on how both treatments incorporate the use of oxygen. Now, you are familiar with CO2 lift, and it has been compared to this hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Can you speak to this in your own experience with patients, and what results and outcomes have you found?
So usually our main concern after surgery, and specifically, for instance, when we have flap surgeries, like say a tummy tuck or in a facelift, we have to raise the skin and we have to raise what we call a flap. This flap has to endure some diminishing of the O2 levels, so meaning that we have less vascularization of these areas. Specifically in liposuction, we do secondary liposuctions. We cannot ensure the vascularization as well. So to treat that and to prevent necrosis, we actually have these two powerful tools. If one is the hyperbaric chamber. The hyperbaric is very efficient. They actually comprise not only 100% oxygen, but we raise also the pressure. The idea is to raise it to 1.8 atmospheres, so it's 2 times the level of pressure that we have of oxygen normally. That actually compresses the oxygen and makes it literally to go all the way into the tissues, even the tissues that have less vascularization. Provided that, the thing is very difficult to have access to it. It's a very expensive device. It has to be in expert hands, and also it has to be in a specific areas. Sometimes they don't have public ones. Sometimes they have to go to a military hyperbaric chamber. So it depends on the availability that the surgeon has in a specific regions and in a specific city. The CO2 lift is literally what we call a topical. So actually you put it over the skin. And it's a combination of products that actually release CO2 into the skin. The variability is that we usually do that, but we have to inject it. You have to go through a needle, go through the skin, and inject the CO2. The CO2, what it does, it creates a vasodilation. We actually create a revascularization, and we generate more blood vessels. That's the key of providing the CO2. So when I run into this product, I say, okay, what you have in hands is gold here, because it's not only for cosmetic purposes. When I found that they were only use it for cosmetic purposes, just for doing the neovascularization of the skin and doing rejuvenation of the skin. But the main point here is that it can provide through the skin, without having to puncture the skin, the same CO2 levels in a higher doses, and even for a higher periods of time than even the injection. So with that, we can have a very powerful tool to induce vascularization in the areas that we have, to spare these flaps, and we have it in a safer, more efficient way with very easy availability as well.
You're preaching to the choir. I personally use the product. I've used the CO2 Lift Pro on my skin. I use the CO2 Lift V for vaginal rejuvenation, and even on...
I can see that.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I've been using it. I'm a big fan. So I'm glad that that you've also echoed the same sentiments in terms of proprietary uses for this product. Now, we have about a minute left, but many people are interested in liposuction for cosmetic purposes. Obviously, that's why they come to you. What is the typical candidate for high definition liposculpture, and what kind of results can they expect, and how quickly?
Well, the high definition is not for very obese people. So usually we consider the BMI, that is the body mass index, below 30 in women, below 32 in men. With that in mind, the leaner, the more stronger muscles you have, even if you have fat, the better results you're going to have. So if you go to a gym, keep going to a gym. Liposuction is not going to replace it, but it's going to be a powerful tool to go to the main circle of getting fit.
Well, there you have it. We are officially out of time, my dear. Thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you. You are an expert in your field because you are just full of knowledge and you do the research and your homework. And you are, of course, an author, which makes me even more comfortable to come get treated at your office.
Oh, thank you very much for the compliments. And thank you very much for the invitation.
Absolutely. Guys, not vetting your doctor can have serious consequences. Speaking of your liposuction surgeon, the body contouring procedures should only be performed by a qualified board-certified plastic surgeon with liposuction experience, like Dr. Hoyos. Selecting an inexperienced or amateur provider will, in fact, jeopardize the results as well as your health and safety. That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. You can definitely find Dr. Hoyos all over the gram. You can check him out at totaldefinermasterclass.com, or you could also head to totaldefiner.com, on the gram at Alfredo Hoyos MD or at Total Definer. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to CO2Lift.com. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
That's a wrap, my dear friends. We are at the end of our date. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m., or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. You could head directly to mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.